ito po yung raw fiber, S2, yung blue. Ito ay una. Then raw hybrid, then after treatment and after treatment of the hybrid. So tumataas po yung whiteness lalo after treatment. Okay? Next please. So this is the morphological analysis of the fibers. So cross-sectional view of the fibers are irregular and more compact with no hollow holes within the fibers. Then, yun po yung una. Then the fiber surface of raw fibers appears wrapped and bundled together. So makita po natin parang pagkakatabi. Then after alkaline and bleaching treatment, relatively gave cleaner and smoother surface with the bundled fibers more loosely held. Luminis po yung fibers after alkaline and bleaching. Okay? Next please. So this is the chemical composition of the S2 and hybrid tabaca. So both treated S2 and hybrid tabaca have higher total cellulose content and correspondingly lower residual gum content in comparison to their raw counterpart. So residual content ng cellulose. Then results suggest that effective removal of non-cellulosic components from the raw fibers such treatment. Okay? Ito po yung spinning performance ng abaca fibers. So, yung thread composition po is 75 to 25 blend. So, 75 polyester and 25% abaca. So, sa preparation po, we can see already the differences between polyester and S2 abaca and polyester and hybrid abaca. So we can see that the performance of the hybrid abaca is better than the S2 abaca in terms of spinning performance. Okay, next please. Then this is the properties of spun yarns made from blended S2 and hybrid abaca fibers. So in terms of breaking force in Newton, so S2 is much stronger as compared to abaca. S2 is 18.44 Newton, while the hybrid is 13.95 Newton. So there's no much difference in terms of average elongation, but in terms of yarn composition, so if polyester is added, so and S2, so 81.86, almost 80.6% is polyester and abaca is 19.4%. While in the case of the hybrid, 76.9 and 23.1% only. Okay. So this is an open vessel pulp product. So we can see the difference between degumming and bleaching. So in terms of the first and second degumming, so there is a decrease in the percent residual gum after bleaching and degumming. So nababawasan po yung gum content after the treatment. Okay. Also, the technical and economic viability of the hybrid abaca fibers as textile raw material was found satisfactory. So, the breaking force of the yarn is lower than that of the S2 blended yarns, but fineness and fiber composition were improved. So, it means that in addition, the breaking force could be improved by increasing the yarn number by twisting 2 or more yarns. So, medyo mahina po ang fiber ng hybrid, pero mas maganda siya. So, magpapatibay po natin siya kung dodoblihin natin. Okay. So, this is the blend between cotton and abaca. If 90% cotton, 10% abaca, the price will be 235 per kilo. And if it is 85% cotton, 15% abaca, 255 pesos yung price. Then 80% cotton, 20% abaca, 270. 75% cotton and 25% abaca, 290. And 70% cotton, 30% abaca, 310 pesos per kilo. So that is if the price in PTRI, the price is 220 pesos per kilo of yarn. Okay, span cotton. Okay, next please. So this is the prototype apparel such as coverall, robe, and couture of uniform. So makikita niyo po na napakaganda ng product ng hybrid as compared to the okay pa. So next please. Thank you very much. Tapos na.
Ang grupo namin ay nagsimula noong 2013. Tinatawag namin ang grupo namin sa Kalyagdaan dahil gusto namin ibalik yung cultural materials ng daan. So, isa po ito sa apat na upright loan na itulong o binigay ni PTRI sa amin. Ang upright loan ay malaking tulong dito sa community dahil nagiging livelihood na po ito sa mga tao dito. Ito yung mga weavers natin. Maliban dito sa upright loan, nagbigay po sila ng training sa amin at binibigyan kami ng workshop at dinadala po kami sa mga trade fair para i-promote namin yung mga products namin.
We are moving to our third speaker. Further down the value chain of textile manufacturing continuum is the conversion of the fabrics, and specific to RA 9242 to garments and uniforms. I think it's a common experience, especially in government. Lowest bidder po, di ba, pag uniform. Sabi nila, pag nakita ka daw nila, uy, mukha kang congressman na. Uy, mukha kang taga-bangko. Uy, mukha kang janitor ah. Because, you know, the cuts and silhouettes of our uniform really speak a lot of who we are and the institutions that we represent. So to walk us through the equally interesting uniform, thus to reshape the uniform manufacturing landscape, is to be sensitive to the changing demands of clients and the challenges of globalization. She is one of the strong advocates in the launch of the Natural Fabrics R&D program of PTRI way back in 2002. And this eventually paved the way for the enactment of RA 9242. So rather than me presenting her, I'd rather say PTRI is happy to welcome her back. The President of the Uniform Manufacturers Organization and Designers Association, or UNIMODA, who rallied behind PTRI and the PTF, and the proud owner of Exclusive Apparel, Ms. Olive Ang.
Good morning, or should I say magandang tanghali sa inyong lahat. I am Olive Ang, a manufacturer of office uniforms for the past 33 years. I started when I was 12. And for those of you who would care to do the math, you would know that this is fake news. So this is where fake news ends and then the truth begins. May I ask for your indulgence as I present to you my client list, each client. The banking sector is my niche. So I have Metrobank, my client, every year since 1989. BDO every year since 2003. China Bank since 1989. And it goes on. So I think I can say with confidence that I know the industry quite well. Thank you. We are all here because of the TELA Story. I will try to determine how many yards in a year the uniform industry needs, and if this is attractive enough for investors to put their money in. So the next frame, please. These are the wearers of office uniforms. Of course, the armed forces, service and sales workers, technicians and professionals. We have plant workers, and of course, we should not forget students who wear uniforms. And the number of students who wear uniforms is 27.7 million. So if we add all of these numbers, next frame please, we have several sectors in the workforce and only 5 sectors use uniforms. So we look at these numbers. There are 41.3 laborers or the workforce, and only 30.8 sectors that will wear uniforms. That's 27 million people wear uniforms every year, 27.7 students. So I will take first for the workforce 27.7 million times an average of 10 yards per year. This is on an assumption that this is a Monday to Friday uniform, and 10 yards is a very, very conservative number. That would mean 127 million yards per year. Add 2, because these are all fabric requirements, children who are in school, 27.7 million times a very conservative 5 yards, because high school students would need more than 5 yards. That would be a total of 138 million yards. So per year, you look at an average of 265 million yards for fabric requirements alone. This is a staggering number, and this should be enough incentive for the industry to have more people interested to invest in it again. And of course, we have to be reminded that the population is steadily increasing, so these numbers increase every year. So I think it is quite a big number to deal with. So we hope that the textile industry will flourish, and it has always been the advocacy of a group named UNIMODA, which was established in 2002. I was president of this team of hardworking uniform manufacturers who sought to be relevant and believed that, one, local indigenous and tropical materials make attractive corporate wear with a truly Filipino flavor. The country can grow a competitive and healthy industry. This is 2002, and please take note of the designs that we created in 2002. I would say, to this day, these designs are relevant and acceptable. This is made out of kumot. This is made out of abel. Unimoda worked hard to promote Senator Herrera's MC20. MC20 encouraged all government corporations and agencies to make use of locally manufactured fabrics for uniforms. Unimoda took active promotion of designing uniforms of indigenous materials. We scoured the Ilocos area from markets to weavers to look for Abel Iloco fabrics that were interesting. The Ilocos governor supported the efforts and helped donate materials for exhibits, fashion shows, beauty contests, and magazine features. At that time, practical and stylish design for everyday wear in indigenous fabrics was practically unheard of. Unimoda's designers, headed by Ricky Flores, who is here right now. Ricky, please say hi. Never ran out of creative ideas creating corporate wear in Abel Iloco. To quote Ching Alano in her Philippine Star article of 2003, she said, yes, the uniform need not look as stale as last year's fashion or as drab as office furniture. Indeed, Unimoda promises diversity in uniforms, adding up-to-the-minute pizzazz to the otherwise stiff corporate wear. And to prove my point that this was unheard of in 2003, Ching Alano adds, Unimoda delivers its coup de grace via the lowly kumot. I think it was the picture after this or the picture before this. You'd be heading straight from bedroom to boardroom in style. This is Ching Alano's article. Can I see the next one? Those are the Abel Ilocos fabrics that were part of the fashion show. Maybe after. Or lost. Anyway, let me go to tropical fabrics. When he referred us to the Philippine Textile and Research in TRI's R&D, pineapple, it did not require special care. It was perfect for office uniforms. We brought there the MC20 and Kabuhayan exhibit at the Intercontinental. Other than just showcasing these fabrics and exhibit officers of the bank in these materials, the demand and interest was unprecedented. However, sadly, the supply ran low. As added assistance for the cost of PTRI and indigenous fabrics, we brought finished products to Europe, and we noted sure interest in the people that we met with. We went to London, we went to Paris, we brought the samples, and the people in the consular office were very interested and wanted to have these fabrics at that time. During this time, Unimoda unceasingly lobbied for the passage of RA 9242, which mandated that the government institutions use indigenous or tropical fabrics for uniforms. In 2004, President Gloria Macapagal Arroyo signed this into law, and Unimoda's cause was won. As I look today at today's fashion, it is clear that indigenous materials has found itself in mainstream fashion. Abel Iloco fabric is made into dresses, jackets, from corporate wear to evening wear. The new breed of designers collaborate with tribes in Ifugao, Bicol, Mindanao to do weaving, beadwork in clothes, shoes, or bags. I can say with confidence, I like to believe that you part with PTRI because of the challenges of work, but maybe it's good time for us to be able to reconnect again. While we have succeeded in the arena of bringing consciousness to tropical fabrics and to indigenous fabrics, we in the uniform industry have to reckon with the challenges the uniform industry is facing. These are stiff competition, diminishing margins, undependable deadlines of fabric availability. Truth is, it does not require great capital to enter the uniform industry. Setting up a starter shop to cater initially to small clients does not require great capital. For as long as you have good ideas, you have good marketing strategies, you can offer your services to a client. The competition is very fierce. The newcomers give low prices, while old-timers find retaining the price in so many ways the only way to keep a client. I can tell you that I have a client of 9 years. For the past 9 years, they have not added a single centavo to the budget that they have been paying me for the past 9 years. And that is with certainty and truth. Thus, we have the scenario of diminishing margins. We contend with rising labor costs, a stronger dollar, more expensive rent, and expensive supplies. You can say that this stiff competition is something that we bring upon ourselves, but there is no way we can control the dollar costs. That's beyond our strengths. So we have to deal with what we have to deal with, and what happens really is that the costs have risen and the margins have diminished. And the issue of undependable deadlines of fabric availability is another matter. It does not take 60 days to have a fabric ordered. It takes sometimes 30 days. It takes 60 days, sometimes 90 days, or sometimes even more before the materials get released to the customers. And this is actual cost because production is delayed, and sometimes we have to pay penalties for our delays. We were thinking, if we get cheaper raw materials from fabrics made in the Philippines, if the fabrics were sourced and milled in our countries, if we can shape on shipment costs, if we can pass through paying brokers' fees and customs duties, then perhaps our 9242's implementation could give relief to my industry that is looking at very narrow margins. I long for the commercialization of the beautiful fabrics developed by PTRI. I look forward to the collaboration of PTRI, which is basically an R&D group with other government agencies like the FIDA, DTI, to see R9242 fly. So far, it has yet to take off. The success of this endeavor will only then change the landscape of the uniform industry. Thank you very much.
first three speakers of the conference, and we are now opening the floor for the open forum. But before we proceed, as you write down your questions, let me just go through the talks earlier. Director Olumba, the first speaker, talked about PTF version 2.0, where we are rethinking the packaging and branding of the Philippine tropical fabrics. And then we moved to Dr. Lalusing, hashtag kahit abaka may puso, who talked about the improvement of abaka to resist the lingering and pestering virus that has plagued the industry for quite some time, and has also demonstrated the collaborative studies with PTRI and FBRDI the use of this variety for pulp and paper and for textiles. And the last one was given by Miss Olive just now, hashtag I started uniforms at 12. Okay. And she walked us through the challenge. So may I now invite our speakers, Director Olumba, Dr. Lalusin, and Miss Olive Ang on the stage as we entertain a question. Approach the microphone. Yes, ma'am.
A pleasant morning to each and everyone. I am Professor Divine Reyes. I teach online in Communication and Information Technology at the Manila Times College. I'm also a working college professor and writes for a different community paper all over the Philippines, one of which is the TELA Regional News Weekly, which circulates in Calabarzon area. My question is intended for Dr. Antonio G. Lalusin. Morning, sir. You specifically specified that there had been a time that you were strictly looking for the resistance and fiber quality in a variety of the abaka. Will you please state benefits of an abaka variety who have the quality of resistance and fiber? Thank you, sir.
Good morning po. Thank you po sa question. So actually, napaka-importante po kasi yung pagsamahin natin yung resistance at saka sa yung fiber qualities. Ang problema ko kasi sa abaka, our plant pathologist, nag-conduct po siya ng screening ng mga traditional abaka, and wala pong abaka na traditional na resistant sa Banjita virus. So 1956 po, Pakol, which is wild banana, was identified as a source of resistance. Kaya po during that time, ginamit na po yung Pakol sa breeding. So kung papaksama po natin yung resistance at saka yung fiber qualities in one variety, napakaganda po dahil ang production po ng abaka ay hindered by that virus disease. Kaya po ang baba ng ating yield ngayon ng abaka because of that virus disease. So for example, sa Sogod, halos kakaunti na po yung abaka. Then sa Samar, especially in Las Navas, halos wala na pong abaka because of that dreaded disease. Thank you.
My question is for Madam Olivia F. She's the president actually of the uniform. Even sa inyo na yung client, you are also encountering problems. Yung tinatawag na, I believe that you really have that capability to hold clients kasi hindi po kayo na-apektuhan ng stiff competition at yung mga iba pang problema na kalakip ng industriya. How were you able to stand yung strong capacity of others na agawan kayo ng kliyente? Totoo po yun, kasi kung isang kaibigan mo na very close ka, yung kliyente mo napunta sa kanya. I believe such circumstances have been encountered by you. How were you able to stand the test of time in maintaining your stand as a very firm manufacturer po and a leader of a national organization in the manufacturing of uniform? Salamat po.
I would like to say that everything else being equal, precious in consideration there, work, quality of work will speak for itself. So if you have an edge on performance, then the price comes in as a secondary factor. Not really as a secondary factor. Everything else being equal, pareho kaming 900 pesos. Pero may track record ka that you have served your client consistently and you have been dependable. Kasi that's the most important thing. You don't give problems to your clients. So, siguro may diferensya na 20 pesos, baka pwede pang pagbigay sa'yo. Pero higher than that, mahirap na because money talks. But everything else being equal, it is quality of service that we talk.
Thank you. Any more questions? Yes, ma'am. The microphone goes.
Good morning po. This question is addressed to the three of our speaker.
May we know where you are from?
Yeah, okay, I'm Miss Bernadette from LDA from TESDA. And I'm very much interested to know what are the priority or what are the current required skills or competencies of our workers in the industry.
Pag sinabi natin industry, medyo malawak yung term na yun. Pero I will just make reference to the project that we're undertaking with the TESDA. This particular project is really seeking to create national certification or NC2 skills recognition for handloom weavers. Alam niyo naman siguro na ang mga handloom weavers natin, typically they're not schooled. They have not left their places of where they live or where they work. So ang kanilang expertise is really on handloom weaving. But what happens is, hindi na recognize that in fact it is a skill when it is a very difficult process to undertake. So this is why we had requested to work with TESDA on a certification program. We are now 50% of the way. Nag-start tayo with the identification of the standards and we invited different representatives from various parts of the country where handlooming is practiced. They compared the way that things are done. We had expert handloom weavers come and validate, and there's a validation process. So medyo mahabol po yung proseso. Nandun po tayo sa 50% of the way. Inaantay po natin yung isa pa nating project para po masusugan yung the next 50%. Pero yan po ay sa handloom weavers lamang. Sa ating pong paggawa ng when you make them into apparel or clothes, or particularly whether for uniforms or for the export market, meron din yung kailangan na certification program. So yun siguro yung second element. The last element or the third element we'd like to emphasize, we are really struggling to find textile technologists, textile engineers. And so this is really the core of part of what we are undertaking with the Iloilo Science and Technology University. The hope is that we will be able to come up with course offerings or programs that can help supply the human resource complement that we will need. If we are aspiring to have a textile industry, kung wala tayong technologists, wala tayong engineers, medyo mahirap yun. So kaya kailangan ilalatag natin lahat ng mga elements that are necessary to really have an industry to speak of.
I think what Director said, you just said is right. Insofar as sewers are concerned, all of these, most of them are homegrown. They have mothers or fathers who are sewers, and so the trade is passed on to the second generation. In fact, in my office, I have several families who are all related and all working for us. and then their cousins have come in and they have intermarried with other families who are working with me. So I think we are just part of one big barangay.
Dr. Lucy, may skill po ba? Baka yung skill ang skill kasi sa research po, ability to resist virus.
Medyo mahirap po kasi yung plant breeding, kaya hindi masyadong yun po yung skill. Dapat po may artistic kayo at saka may skill.
Mahabang pasensya sa
pasensya sa
maraming viruses sa research, figuratively and clinically. Anyway, more questions please? Yes, ma'am.
My name is Kat Palasi. I'm a creative entrepreneur. I'm very much an advocate of tropical fabrics, our fabrics. I was very happy to be invited here today. Thank you, Ms. Elia. I'm also happy that I've been looking at Abaca online. I'm happy to have been here when Dr. Was able to talk about Abaca. These are new information. This is new information for me, but I'm also at a loss because he also mentioned about resistance to disease and all that. My one basic question is, are we now moving forward and are we able to improve? Yes. Are we doing improvements now? How far are we in doing the improvements in the Abaca industry? Is there hope? Is there good news? And then secondly, because we are now moving towards natural dyeing, natural fabrics and all that, I was wondering about one slide which mentioned polyester and then added to Abaca. I know maybe it's just one of those things that but shouldn't we be moving towards not polyester, not all the petroleum products, but towards the more earth-friendly products? But first, the Abaca, how it is now. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you so much. So, medyo hindered pa rin tayo sa production eh. Kaya actually, Manila Cordage, nagsara sila because wala silang supply ng fibers. Then, ang 85% ng demand ay in-export natin. So, yung medyo natitira sa textile or even sa carbon paper, yung mga hindi magagandang qualities. So, ang masasabi ko na improvement is yung hybrids o yung bandala is napakagandang for pulp and paper at the same time sa textile. So, na-study na ng FPRDI at saka ng PTRI yung qualities at saka yung technical aspect ng hybrid para sa product nila. So, yun yung isang magandang development. So, hindi na tayo magkukumpete. Actually, yung competition sa supply ang problema eh, di ba? So, hindi na tayo magkukumpete sa cordage, hindi na tayo magkukumpete sa iba pang uses, pero pwede tayo magkaroon ng specific na variety para sa textile at saka para sa pulp. Na ang problema kasi ngayon sa industry, Abaca industry, medyo cordage pa rin yung kanilang tinitingnan yung quality ng, especially sa tensile strength. Yung matibay yung tinitingnan nila. So, that is for cordage. So, may other uses dapat. So, mas maganda na every variety may specific use. Para bang sa coconut na pwedeng tayong for cocoa sugar, pwedeng sa buko. So, ganun din dapat ang tingnan natin sa Abaca. Hindi masyadong general sa cordage lang. Okay, thank you.
I just wanted to add to that. Hindi pa siya, I have to say, hindi pa siya fully implementable. And I'm also very grateful that Mr. Mike Paparos, who heads a subsector for the Fiber Council, is also with us here today. Ang tama yung sinasabi niya eh. Now we can make a very good distinction. We can plant this abaca material that is meant strictly for the cordage industry. And in those places where you have handloom weaving communities, plant the one that is specific for textile application. There should be no, kumbaga there is no conflict in this. Siguro nagiging conflict doon, yung education ng farmers. Kasi hindi mo nga naman pwedeng bigay sa kanila yung mababa yung tensile strength. Dapat yun ang ilalagay mo para sa textile side. So this is really education and management, cultural management. But I also wanted to address the other question of Kat, because Kat, maybe you weren't here earlier, when I think yung tanong mo ay yung polyester. Nabanggit ko kasi yan, nung araw, hindi pa naman katagalan yun, mga siguro 8 years ago, karamihan ng mga studies na ginagawa sa aming institute, hindi mo maaalis na talaga nilalagyan ng polyester. Kasi yun yung napakadaling base material, sa hinahaluan siya. But recently, we have also come to know more about the circular economy. And based on this, about 3 years ago, we already said, or 2 years ago, we made a definite statement, we are not going to be blending the yarn, within the yarn, anything with polyester. Ang pwede mong gawin yun, i-blend mo siya in the fabric. Why is that necessary? When you speak of government uniforms, typically, pag all natural, it becomes very wrinkly. It does not have that wrinkle resistance. And so if you're in government service, ayaw mo nung sabihin, ang lukot-lukot mo naman. Para kung hindi nagpa-plancha, So hindi maganda yung presentation nun. So what we have said is, we will say that on the warp, we can allow the polyester, but on your weft, it must be purely natural textile material or yarn. So in a sense, pwede ka pang mag-separate. When I say separate, the technology will be there to be able to now dilute or separate or melt away synthetic as against natural. We will have to work on that because we are concerned about the circularity as well. In the end, we would like to be able to also nurture the principles. But we realize that when it comes to practicality and reasonableness, you need to have that less wrinkly look as far as uniforms are concerned. Mainstream, it doesn't matter. Streetwear, it's all right. Okay, hindi na mo plancha. Pero yung pag-uniform na ikaw ay gobyerno, empleyado ka, parang kagalang-galang. So, hindi mo ang kagalang-galang yung malukot. So, thank you very much for that question.
Yes?
Going back to what Director Senye had elaborated, ma'am, ito sabihin talaga, may very long problema yan, lalo po ng mga professional, that yung nature ng work nila sedentary po. Madalas nakaupo sila. Then when they have visitor, papakilala, pagtayo, may linya na yung noo, pati mukha, pati dami puro linya sa dami ng lukot. Ang appearance mo parang trapo na tumayo. Now my question is this, binanggit po ni Madam Ang na talagang ang industry po ng tela ay walang tigil sa pag-ulat, especially on research. Darating, will there be a time, Ma'am Elumba, na magkakaroon ng paraan para yung mga natural fabrics natin na presko nga, cotton, pag hinaluan ng ibang sangkap, nagiging ulat, pero ang init naman. Kung paano ka, kasi very much concerned, especially among the speakers, hindi naman po lahat ng venue, aircon. Pag ikaw ay na-invite sa isang open place, kang imagination that you have to talk for a long time, ang ganda ng sinabi mo after mag-talk, ang sama ng mukha mo sa init. Tumatagak-tak ang bawis mo, at kung pwede lang, sumpain mo yung suot mong barong, mainit na Makati pa. May paraan po ba, mga madam sa industriya, Ang and Elumba, na sa palagay niyo po, a way that you have already implemented na yung uniform na dating lukot-lukot, medyo gumanda-ganda na po at hindi na ganang mainit. Thank you po.
I was referring earlier in my talk to the trial run that I did for the officers' uniforms in about 2005 of a banana fiber incorporated with polyester. I think, without exaggerating, it was the most beautiful barong material that we have seen. When I presented it, it was sold almost immediately. Hindi siya nagugusot, hindi siya kumukupas, at ang care was really no special care, hand wash lang. Machine wash was not really very popular at that time, but hand wash was good. So since they had this fabric before, I think they can just get it out from their baol and from their aparador and then give birth to this fabric again, because my other client, China Bank in particular, wanted a reorder for that fabric. When they requested for the reorder, that was the time that we could no longer supply the material.
I'll first answer yung kay, sususugan ko lang yung sinabi ni Ms. Olive. Yun nasa baon na yun nga yung merong malakas na polyester side. And typically, polyester really, if it's a non-aircon environment, yes, you're going to feel it kasi it is synthetic. And going forward, we really are going to have to find that, let's say, perfect blend or perfect material that will have all those ideas na hindi siya, it's cool to the body, but at the same time, it is not as wrinkly. You know, if any of you have ever heard, meron kasing, at one point in time, I was working for the retail side, wrinkle-free shirts, wrinkle-free blouses, wrinkle-free. Have you ever heard those? And these are 100% cotton. So my point is, technology is always in flux. And that already happened 10, 15 years ago. But what does that mean? Wrinkle-free means mechanical application. So ito yung kailangan tayong mag-balance palagi. We cannot, I suppose that in this life, wala tayong 100% perfect. So we're going to have to really live with some and live with the other. Tanong sa akin, for example, the tailor asked the question, Ma'am, dapat ganyan yung gawin mo, kung hindi, yung itsura mo ganyan. No, I'm after comfort. Ma'am, kung comfort, masasacrifice mo yung look. So, mamili ka. Ano sa'yo? So, ang point ko dito, yes, we can always aspire for the best that we can hope for. But I don't think perfect is for everybody. Meaning, what's good for one may not be completely good for the other. So, kailangan tayong maging very realistic. Technology is there. We can put that wrinkly, remove the wrinkliness, and at the same time give that comfort, cooling effect. One of the things that is a challenge that I have given to our research and development unit is that I would like to be able to have a material that is really cooling to the body, moisturizing on the inside. Imagine our police forces, the traffic enforcers, if they can be wearing this, they're out on the road, and you can put antimicrobial, you can put all of those moisturizing and cooling effect on the material that they're wearing, that will be wonderful. So this is the goal of technology. This is where we're going to have all of those infusion. Pero, ang realization dito, ito yung cost issue. So we have to be able to consider that all of these things, meron din siyang kalaki. So kailangan natin yung balance na hinahanap natin. You have to be able to now choose what works for you. Are you after the price? Are you after the comfort? Are you after the look? You take your pick. So marami pong options. The menu is available out there. Thank you.
So I'd like to close the open forum. We can actually approach them after. Okay, one very last.
Good morning. I'm Alden. I am just an observer here. I want to address the question to Dr. Yusin and Seria. Talking about this TELA Story, we always mention Abaca. But I would like to ask this question. We forgot one other substrate, which is piña. Piña is better, I don't know, but this is as far as I'm concerned, piña is a better fiber as a weaving, as a knitting. And I would like to ask this question, why we always heading the discussion to Abaca, and we might forget piña as one of the best fiber. That's the question. Thank you very much.
Actually, we have not forgotten Piña. This is the first time that Abaca has become the center of the conversation, mainly because of the work that Dr. Ladusin has been doing on the hybrid Abaca. But you know, most of the things that we are doing are 80% cotton and 20% pineapple leaf, and 80% cotton, 20% Abaca. If I may request some of our members of the team, I see Engineer Rico over here. She's actually wearing a PTF material. Please. She's wearing a dress that is made of 80% cotton, 20% pineapple leaf. Marnie, over there, who is in charge of our registration, is also wearing 80 cotton, 20% pineapple leaf. So we are all wearing elements of a PTF material. So I mean, not to worry. Pineapple is still at the very core of a lot of what we do. In fact, it is the easiest, most commercializable because of the fineness of the size of the yarn itself. No? So, not to worry about that. It is definitely up there. Ang lahat, okay. Ang hindi po nabibigyan ng pansin in my opinion is banana. Because banana is another material that is a lot out there. If you look at the number of hectareages that is dedicated to banana, it is about 4 or 5 times that number dedicated to pineapple leaf perhaps. So there is a lot of opportunities there. I'm wearing a bamboo with cotton, just as the secretary is also wearing a bamboo with cotton. So we are trying to really make full use of this. We become our own research. How does it work? How does it wash? How does it feel? So kami rin nag-research din kami on our own personal take on this. But not to worry, there is a lot of materials on the pineapple leaf that we definitely are going to be pursuing. Thank you for that question, Alvin.
Sir, sa UPLB po, before, may plano po kasi kami magawa ng di pa po, ang fibers po kasi sa dahon. So we want, then maliliit yung bunga, yung fruit niya. So we want to produce a variety na parang dual purpose. Malalaki yung bunga, at the same time mahaba yung dahon para sa fibers. Sana po magawa namin ngayon para makadevelop tayo ng dual purpose pineapple.
I can lang. I always say this because I really take a look at this as the wisdom of God. No? This is really nature at its best. Kung alam niyo yung piña seda natin, galing yon sa piña, right? Kanya piña seda. Pero alam niyo yung piña seda na yun, hindi yung piña na ginagawa ng mga plantation, pineapple plantation. Yun ay maliit na prutas, mahabang dahon. Kabaligtaran, yung nasa plantation, malaki yung prutas, maikli yung dahon. So imagine the brilliance of this whole thing, right? The same thing with banana and abaca. Banana does not have as much fiber as abaca, but banana has the fruit. So really, everything is about balance and moderation at the end of the day, in God, in its wisest counsel for nature.
Okay, we shall end the open forum with the banana and pineapple waiting for us for lunch. As we thank Director Lumba, Dr. Ladusin, and Ms. Olive Akin, we'd like to award the plaques of appreciation and tokens for them. This ends this morning session. The lunch buffet is already available for that. And we also would like to invite you to avail of the photo booth available at the registration area.